I used to think favoritism was something obvious. Bigger birthday presents, more attention at holidays, louder praise. It turns out favoritism can be much quieter than that. Sometimes it sounds like, she needs you more. Sometimes it sounds like, don't make this about yourself. And sometimes it sounds like my mother calling the morning of my bridal shower to tell me that almost nobody from my side of the family would be coming, because my younger sister wanted to spend the day mourning the anniversary of her pet hamster's death. I actually laughed at first. I thought she was joking. She wasn't. Mom spoke carefully, almost rehearsed. Your sister has been emotional all week. We decided she needs family around her today. My bridal shower is today. I know. There was a long pause. She just isn't in a good place. I looked around the room my friends had spent days decorating. Flowers, homemade desserts, borrowed folding chairs, little games they had planned because they knew I wasn't interested in anything extravagant. So, everyone is skipping it? They're supporting her. I waited for someone to acknowledge how absurd that sounded. Nobody did. Finally I said, "Copy that." That was the end of the conversation. My friends filled the room with enough warmth that afternoon to keep me from falling apart, but every empty chair reminded me who had chosen not to be there. I stopped expecting explanations. The next morning my phone buzzed while I was making coffee. Credit card transaction, $1,200, custom memorial products. At first I assumed someone had stolen my card, then I recognized the merchant's name. It specialized in handcrafted pet memorials. My stomach tightened. I called the company. The representative politely confirmed the order. A miniature walnut casket, custom brass nameplate, engraving, preserved flower display, expedited shipping. The billing address was mine. The shipping address was my mother's house. I asked one question. Who authorized the purchase? I'm sorry, the representative replied. I can't provide personal details, but the order was placed using your saved payment information. Saved, not stolen. Someone had simply used the card I'd once saved while ordering groceries for Mom months earlier, as though asking permission had never crossed their mind. I didn't call my family. I called my bank. The fraud specialist listened without interrupting. She asked whether I had approved the purchase. No. Has anyone else been given permission to use your card? No. She explained the dispute process, canceled the card immediately, and opened an investigation. Her voice remained calm the entire time. No opinions, no family politics. Just facts. Within a day, the transaction was frozen while the bank reviewed the claim. For the first time in years, someone wasn't asking me to be the bigger person. They were simply asking whether I had authorized the charge. I hadn't. That was enough. The phone call started after my mother realized the payment hadn't gone through. First came confusion, then excuses. We thought you'd understand. It's for the family. Your sister is grieving. Finally, the accusation. You embarrassed everyone. I remember standing in my kitchen staring out the window. No, I said quietly. Someone used my card without asking. Silence. Then my mother sighed as though I were the difficult one. You could have talked to us first. I shouldn't have needed to. That conversation ended faster than any argument we'd ever had. A week later I received 3 separate messages explaining why I owed my sister compassion. Not one included the words, "I'm sorry." That was when something inside me settled. Not hardened, settled. I stopped trying to convince people that what happened mattered. Instead, I changed passwords, removed every saved payment method, closed shared accounts, updated emergency contacts. Little administrative tasks that looked insignificant but felt enormous. My fiancé never told me what to do. He simply asked one evening, "Are you building the kind of family you want, or spending all your energy fixing the one you have?" I didn't answer immediately. I didn't need to. A few days later I mailed a sympathy card to my mother's house. Inside wasn't a long letter. There wasn't even an insult, just a printed image of a raised middle finger. Petty? Maybe. Honest? Absolutely. It wasn't about the hamster. It wasn't even about the money. It was the only sentence I felt like sending after years of being told my milestones could always wait for someone else's crisis. The bank completed its investigation 2 weeks later. The charge was permanently reversed. The representative explained that unauthorized use of a saved payment method was still unauthorized regardless of who placed the order. No speeches, no drama, just consequences. Some relatives still believe I overreacted. Others quietly admitted they never knew my card had been used. Nobody apologized. I stopped waiting. When I walked down the aisle a month later, my husband's family filled the front rows with laughter, awkward dancing, and genuine excitement. My side looked smaller than I had imagined growing up, but it also looked honest. I finally understood something I wish I'd learned years earlier. Love isn't measured by who demands the most sacrifice. It's measured by who respects your boundaries when saying no cost them something. That was the wedding gift I ended up giving myself.